Now, may I kindly request Professor Chandrasekhar to share your insights, please?
Um, Thank you. I think it was very heartening to see the progress in different dimensions under the program. Uh, of course, as we know, challenges are really big because where we stand and where the leading nations in the world stand, there is a big gap. And we need to close the skill gap, of course. We need to close the knowledge gap. Uh, Also, the financial gap is actually quite large. So it is a challenge, but I'm glad we are on the path. And once we are on the path, we will sort of move on. Uh, there were a couple of points that quickly came to mind, and uh, our tape out program is a really good support program because many of our PhD students would be able to see real silicon based on the design work they do. But that also immediately brings in the point which I had faced in my early career at Siri, that once we got our first chip fabricated, we didn't know what to do with the chip because there was no proper testing equipment. And there wasn't, we hadn't already aligned in terms of how to build a prototype or bring up silicon uh, post fabrication, what now everybody calls post silicon fabrication bring up. So I think that all issue would also need to be addressed in terms of access to facilities, whether at one of our, not probably not necessary to replicate at every campus, but maybe it has to be there at one campus, or maybe it has to be uh, accessed from another partner institution if they already have it, or commercially, so that when you get something fabricated, you can actually test it, characterize it, see the performance in terms of speed or stuff of that kind for digital circuits, and of course number of effective bits, etc., for mixed signal circuits. And so that's something, again, I think we'll need to think ahead, so that once we have the chips, uh, we can really test them, verify them, and put them to some kind of a demonstrative use. Uh, the equipment development challenge, as it was discussed, is actually very big. And I do know that within the country, there are people from instrumentation background who have worked on small prototype equipment, which sort of gives good for training, maybe good for very small dies and stuff of that kind. But taking it along to more sophisticated levels has remained a challenge, because these have been, individual based small efforts, and a coherent kind of big effort towards development uh, of equipment has not been there. So that's a challenge, I think. Not just Crest, but also maybe Mighty can look at it, because the technology is becoming strategic. Technology denials, again, we are back to where we were in 70s, saying where you need to do things for yourself, by yourself, as much as possible, or in partnerships, or trusted partnerships, so to say. Um, it is indeed true that many of these sensors can be made with much less finer geometries. The specialization in materials and processing of materials, activation of materials, those kind of things are particularly 2D materials as new materials and other. So there's a lot of uh, new things that can be done there. But once again, I've seen from my earlier experience at Siri that you can make a sensor, but again, to bring up a sensor into usable form requires so much electronics around it, in terms of signal conditioning, signal processing, amplification, noise issues, and stuff of that kind. So those aspects also would need to be taken care, uh, which would really enable a pair, uh, what I would call a bare sensor to be used. Uh, and issues like self-calibration of sensors and uh, auto-calibration facilities. Some of these ideas of digitally enhanced analog circuits, they would need to be pursued, and that will again be required. The other kind of challenge that comes with the sensors is the kind of packaging technology. Each sensor requires a very unique packaging technology, and that requires specialized equipment. So once again, from my Siri experience, I remember that it costs, and you know uh, these are not general purpose equipments that can be used with any sensor. So each sensor requires a certain kind of package development and packaging technology and packaging equipment. And that part again becomes costly. So whether to get it or to have access to it at a common center uh, is again something that needs to be looked at, because without that, I do remember that we at times saw many bare sensor dies, so sensors on dies, but not packaged and not usable. So that would be another challenge that required. Uh, in terms of education, I think the education that we are pursuing here at BITS is, so for undergraduate level, in terms of semiconductor exposure, it's quite broad, and I believe it should be that way. Uh, in terms of PhD, obviously it has to be narrow and deep, and we have examples of that. But I think we need to work more on that side so that we really come out with something which is absolutely unique globally. Uh, that would be something that we should work for and aim at. And as a kind of side effect of that exercise, there would be opportunities for innovation on the way, where we can sort of adapt uh, the known sort of designs and technologies to a more specific purpose in a better manner. So that's kind of an adaptation exercise that itself requires a lot of knowledge and understanding, both of design as well as technology. But you can then meet specifications. So that sort of comprehensive understanding that can help you build and meet specifications, so is something that we will need a little more work to do on that side as well. Um, I think with that, the other sort of thing is that many things actually flow back from the application domains, uh, and one needs to work. I do remember what was Professor Krishna Saraswat had mentioned to me. He said uh, a system is a dog, and the sort of subsystem is the tail of the dog, and chips are the fly on the tail of the dog. Of course, here the fly is the most important part of the thing, but the fly is always kind of rides a dog's tail. So, uh, in many sort of applications for users, we need to have teams which understand the application domain. Uh, Semiconductor people not always are the best people to understand an application domain. So, a kind of collaborative attempt between an application domain person and a semiconductor person would be required to kind of work backwards from specifications and understanding of what the user wants, and then working backwards to design, develop, architect, build the chips, and make systems then based on this. So I would only say that I'm very glad that we are seeing a lot of development, a lot of positive momentum. but let us keep in mind our challenges are also very huge, and that's not meant to kind of frighten us. It is only meant to kind of tell us that we need these kind of approaches and look at challenges that some of which I mentioned, so that we look at them a little ahead of time, so that when we reach that point, we have something with which we can work, and rather than reach that point and then begin thinking about it, that would then take more time. So I think the domains have got integrated. So if today you look at the highest levels of technology, they really integrate all the way from best of the semiconductor process to best of the design, best of the architect, into the actual chip they deliver, and then build systems based on that. So that kind of an integrated pipeline of knowledge and across more narrower disciplines, but each having its own excellence. So this, chaining of excellence in all of these would lead to what would be really a winner for us in the long term. And I do know it can't be done easily in the short term, but we need to sort of gradually build that kind of capability. So it's a chain of excellence in each of these areas, and anywhere there is a weak link, the chain is as strong as the weakest link. So we will require that kind of effort too, where we try to build all these strengths, excel in each one of them, and then try to build this chain of excellences to go all the way. So very hopeful and very excited, and that we are in the running into the challenge, and I'm sure we would work our way and come out as winners. Thank you very much.
Professor, we have 3 minutes now, so we need
Yes.
to.
Yeah, I think Dr. Semwal raised her hand. If she has any quick comment to make.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I just wanted to highlight this issue of equipment manufacturing because MIT has acknowledged it long back, and we are actually very serious about taking it forward. But somehow that confidence is, Chandrasekhar sir also mentioned that we don't know how to take it forward. Probably with the support of the industry partners, we would like to take it forward. We constituted one committee long back, last year, in the beginning of last year only. We constituted one committee. We had good proposals also. But how to bring the trust to the partners who will be utilizing these tools, we don't know. So probably some insight is required how to take it forward, because being the convener of that committee, we had received the proposals, but how to deploy those equipment to the prototype level is okay, but how to take it forward, probably we need to have a brainstorming session. I don't know who can take the lead. Then probably some of these equipment can be identified, the whole low-hanging fruits can be identified and take it forward. So maybe Chandrasekhar sir, you can suggest us like what to be focused in the beginning, because we started discussing one project on ICP RIE. So one partner had come forward to develop it and then take it forward, but somehow we asked them to deploy few systems to the academia or R&D organizations, but we did not get the positive response. But other equipment also we can focus on. We have a mandate where equipment manufacturing should take place in the country now. Not to the sophisticated very lithography tools or something, but at least some deposition, characterization tools, SCM, TM, something can be built in-house. So this is what is the only request from all of you, if we can have a brainstorming session on that.
Thank you, Dr. Semwal.
I think, Sangeeta, you will probably need to discuss that separately. So
yeah, sure, sir. Sure. Maybe other partners also sitting here can give their suggestions. Then we can take it separately.
Definitely, Dr. Semwal.